Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is part of Court and Parts,
podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows: Geek Gravy, We Got 5, TV Ate My Brain, and Get Real Movies at courtandarts.com.
Coming to you undead from Elm Street in fictional Haddonfield with a beautiful view of Crystal Lake, the podcast where every day is Friday the 13th and every night is Halloween. You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is the official horror movie podcast of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network, the home of Talking Shondaland, That Pop This Life, We Got 5, Failure to Launch, and TV Ate My Brain. Go to coretemparts.com for more information. Rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes or listen to Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, and Google Play. Please hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. Music is provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. This is number 24. My name is Bloodbath.
And I'm Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
I'm Bub.
And December is upon us. It's the holiday season. For some of us, it's the most wonderful time of year. For others, Christmas is an inexorable bore, diluted by the crass commercialism, the most annoying music that goes 24/7 in every shitty department store, disgusting fruitcake, Fox News pushing their Christian agenda across to their slack-jawed, moldable masses of thinly veiled extremists that there is a war on Christmas. If there is a war on Christmas, then Christmas is winning, folks. I see lights everywhere, trees where there shouldn't be, and 50% off the latest commodity with complimentary gift wrapping. Yup, I fucking hate Christmas. I always have. It brings out the worst in people. Everyone is on a crusade, but no one seems to know why. If there is a war on Christmas, Christmas is enslaving us all, and I am the resistance. And you are here with me and my two co-hosts, ready to deck the halls with entrails instead of holly, awaiting Krampus instead of Santa. It's our first annual installment of Christmas in Hell. 'Tis the season. How much better would it have been if the story of Rudolph involved the red-nosed outcast goring and gutting all the other reindeer for not letting him play those stupid games? How much cooler would it have been if Santa's elves were fucking demons and they made toys that try to kill all the shitty little kids you went to grade school with? How much more invested would you be if the Grinch didn't bother stealing Christmas decorations and presents, but instead crept into the homes of every Who in Whoville and slaughtered them in their sleep, and then vanished into the night, only to do it to another Who next year in who knows what Who town? So instead of buying a stupid fucking Christmas sweater and going through the motions of pretending to like the relatives you can't stand 11 and a half months out of the year, cozy up with us for our annual installment of Christmas in Hell. If you have a few festive horror films that you'd like to hear us talk about, then hit us up on social media with the hashtag ChristmasInHell2016 or email your favorites to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. We're making a list. With that said, it's time for killer news. Ho, ho, ho.
Boom.
It's that time again. It's Killer News with Bub on Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
Oh, that's tough to follow. That's real tough. But, yeah, news this week. I sent you guys a sneak peek of The Mummy with Tom Cruise. How'd you guys feel about that? I feel like it's just like a trailer of Tom Cruise running.
He's always running, that guy, huh?
He's always
God,
running.
I love that supercut of him running. It's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
So does this Mummy have anything to do with the Brandon Fraser Mummy story?
I don't think so. I think they're trying to make all those old school horror movies. They're all going to be coming out over the next 3 years, and this is the first installment.
It's officially reboot season, everybody.
Yeah.
So here, I kind of like the old Mummy movies. I love the old Mummy movie, but I like the Brandon Fraser ones. I thought they were fun. They're okay. They are what they are. You know what I mean? Big budget, lots of CGI, but they're good. They're good. They're a good movie. I don't really know how I feel about this. I mean, I don't think you. See, I don't want to seem like I'm shitting on Tom Cruise because he's just so easy to shit on. I think as an actor, like
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even that I don't like his movies. I enjoy a lot of his movies. I think they're fine for what they are. And he's been doing it for a long time, but he's just not. I don't know, man. Like, he just doesn't fit. It's just like they could have. Whatever they're gonna do, they could have gotten somebody better. They didn't need to get Tom Cruise for this.
And
you know what I mean?
there's not a level of excitement. You don't have a level of excitement when you hear this movie starring Tom Cruise, because you've already seen the 380 movies Tom Cruise has made, and he's basically played the same character with different levels of humor or sarcasm. But horror is a nuanced act, and Tom Cruise is great at what he does, but nuance is definitely not his forte.
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great if he was like the character in Tropic Thunder for the Mummy movie.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
He deserved an Oscar for what he did in Tropic Thunder.
It was great.
He was so funny in that. And like when I say that he doesn't fit, like, if a Mission Impossible movie came out and he wasn't in it, I would be like, that's a little weird. You know what I mean? Because that's his world. That he owns that. That he owned it. That's why it's so good or bad, because it's completely owned by Tom Cruise. The same thing with the Jack Reacher thing, you know?
Hey, at least we didn't get Matt Damon, you know?
Matt Damon. But that was okay. So you just provided another really good example. The Bourne movie that he wasn't in was weird. It was a strange movie. It was okay, but
Felt
it wasn't.
like you were doing something wrong, right?
I felt like I was cheating on Matt Damon.
And hey, I mean, obviously this isn't our genre, but The Martian was one of my favorite movies in the past few years. So, I mean, Matt Damon does something right.
Martian was a great movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're not the hard science podcast.
Don't you guys stand up for him?
What are they calling it now? Hard science fiction? Is that that's what it is? Like Interstellar?
Interstellar, Arrival, which I haven't seen yet. Which this is actually one of my favorite genres. So I'm naturally drawn to that. But yeah, they're calling it hard science fiction, which I'm really not a big fan of anyway, of that title.
I think
totally.
I think it's okay. I think, like, you know, as far as like somebody who's maybe a little bit, I can appreciate it from somebody who's like nerdy about science, because I'm nerdy about other things. I get it. I can appreciate that sort of thing. So, what else is on the docket there, bub?
All right, so James Wan, he was on Twitter the other day, and he said that he aimed to make The Conjuring 2 a Christmas-themed horror movie.
I fucking saw that shit on Reddit, and
yeah.
I responded to that. That's a tricky thing to do, because The Conjuring 2 is not a movie that you watch over and over again the same way you watch, like, Silent Night, Deadly Night, you know? Silent Night, Deadly Night is, like, great for, like, one time out of the year. The same way, like, during the summer, you can watch Sleepaway Camp. I mean, both of you guys, I think, will agree with me in that regard. Yeah, I could watch Sleepaway Camp every single summer as the summer's getting ready to get. You know what I mean? Yep. The Conjuring 2 is not a movie that you fall back to, because it has little or no humor in it. This is not me putting it down, because I think it's a fucking terrifying movie. And just the same thing with, like, The Exorcist. I love The Exorcist, but it's not a movie I can be like, oh yeah, it's Christmas time, it's time to put on The Exorcist. Like, I just don't, I can't do that.
Who wants to watch a spider walk?
I have YouTube for that. I'll just put that. That should be my Facebook banner GIF. It's
just a spider walk?
Just the constant spider walk and the head turn. That's
classic.
I'm doing that. As soon as we're done with this, I am doing that.
I'm glad I could inspire you.
You always inspire me, dude.
All right, so my last thing is Don Calfa passed away yesterday. You know him as the mortician Ernie from Return of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Oh, rest in peace. I didn't realize he passed away yesterday. I saw Brad from Fuzzy Monkey Films posted something. I guess when he went to a horror convention when he was younger, and he had a picture taken with him, and he put like rest in peace, and I didn't know. I didn't realize, but it seemed like an older picture, so I didn't realize it was yesterday. That's a real shame, and that's a drag. Rest in peace, Don. He was great in that movie. He was really, really good.
He passed away 2 days before his 77th birthday.
Brutal.
What a shame. What a shame.
Do you guys want to hear something eerie about passing away? All right, get this. So yesterday, I went to go take my kid for pictures with Santa, right? Mm-hmm. I went down to Fairfield Gardens on Route 46, and I walk in there at like 2 o'clock, and I'm like, I just want to get a picture with Santa with her, you know? Where is he? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, he had to be taken to the hospital today, right? So this guy's like a really good-looking Santa, you know? Everybody's putting Facebook pictures up and this and that. I wake up today, the dude died. How crazy is that? How morbid.
That's morbid.
It's really super morbid.
He died yesterday?
He died this morning. We went for the picture yesterday.
What time did you go for the picture?
Like 2 o'clock.
I was typing up my fucking rant at that time.
Oh, dude. It was so crazy. They have this thing called the Christmas Ice Caverns, and we walked in there. Everything's all festive, you know? And I was like, where's Santa? Where we can get a picture with Santa? And the lady, like, I'm holding my daughter's hand, and she doesn't even hold back. She's like, Santa's in the hospital. And I was like, and I'm telling you, like, and I was just like my kid just looked at me, and I was like, and she's like, huh? And I was like, she said Santa's at Willowbrook Mall. We got to go to Willowbrook Mall. He's there today. So that's where we had the picture taken, at Willowbrook Mall.
Wow. That is morbid.
So creepy.
Wow.
Life lessons, I guess.
Life lessons. So, we're going to take a teensy-weensy little break, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about the Gingerdead Man. You're listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, part of the Core Temp Arts podcast network.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Let us know what you think by reaching out to us. We can be found on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Facebook by simply searching Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. To suggest a film or trailer you think we should discuss, or to comment on this or any other episode, send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. We will always get back to you. Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, and enjoy the rest of the show.
In a quiet bakery, one woman is about to confront her past.
We gotta fight back.
An unforgivable act of violence.
It also says here that after they fried him in the chair, they cremated him and sent his ashes to his mother in Coonsboro.
Something else was just left at the back porch, too.
Must be that gingerbread season.
Oh, heck.
An unholy curse.
What is that fucker anyway?
I think I know what. I mean, who it is.
It's me you're after! Why'd you come and get me?
A new kind of cookie.
What the hell is that?
Well, it sure ain't the Pillsbury fucking dope boy.
Who are you? Ah!
Run as fast as you can. Something's in the oven. The Gingerdead Man. Evil never tasted so good.
Eat me, you punk bitch!
And we're back, and so we softly move into Christmas in Hell with a film that is barely about Christmas, but still some reason or another it's festive. I'm talking about The Gingerdead Man. It was released in 2005, directed and produced by Full Moon Pictures studio head Charles Band. In it, nobody gets naked, which sucks, because the two hot chicks in there. But 6 people die, so that's okay. Brett, you're up.
Yeah, this movie could definitely use some naughty count. So, Millard Findelmeyer, a.k.a. Gary Busey, for really reasons unknown, goes in and shoots up a diner and leaves a young lady behind to live after shooting her what I believe is her abdomen. It doesn't really explain it, but regardless, her testimony brings this vicious, violent, psychotic killer to justice via the death penalty. His spoken of mother seems to drop off his ashes in some type of witchcraft into gingerbread batter, where in which the living daughter created a gingerbread cookie along with the blood of her co-worker, her wrestling obsessed co-worker, that bakes into the Gingerdead Man a psychotic cookie with the okay, I'm gonna keep trying. With the soul of Gary Busey in it, who is hell-bent on exacting revenge on the one person who sent him to the chair.
Well done. Real quick, lead actress's name in this movie is Sarah Lee. I don't know if anybody caught that.
Yes,
it
I
is.
totally did.
Her love interest is a guy named Amos Cadbury, as in Famous Amos. I just thought I'd point that out.
And also Cadbury Bunnies.
And Cadbury Bunnies, yes. Here's the thing, too. All right, it blows my mind that this thing holds a 60% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm amazed by it.
I couldn't believe it.
Those are the same critics who have to be like the type of people who just are like head over heels for like Captain Beefheart or something. And when you listen to Beefheart, you're like, what the fuck is going on? What is this gross hippie just howling about Frownlands and shit for? This is terrible. And Beefheart fan is like, see, man, because you don't get it, you hate music. These are the same people. They're like, oh, you don't get Gingerdead Man? You fucking hate music, poser. It's terrible. It's not the worst film I've ever seen, but it's a bad movie. It's not an awful... Like, we've seen awful movies on this... Like, I've watched awful movies. There are terrible movies. And this one is not, like, the worst, but it's not, like, any means good. And they have a lot of missed opportunities, I feel like. The reason it's not... like the worst shit I ever heard ever seen, I'm thinking about Beefheart now, is because 1, it's funny, 2, it's cheesy, and 3, it's short. It's not there, it does have that going for it. It has some really, a couple funny one-liners and stuff. But there's just so much missed shit. I mean, you executed Gary Busey in this movie. You couldn't show his execution. You have to show his picture.
Right?
We just show the execution. That would have been awesome.
That's the biggest fucking problem with this goddamn movie is you mean to tell me we can't take crazy face Gary Busey and put him in a fucking chair? Like, that is the biggest fucking missed opportunity in this movie. Yeah, he would go nuts at that fucking scene. It would kill Shocker. We always use Shocker as a reference for some reason, but it would fucking pale in comparison to Gary Busey dying in an electric chair.
Sure, and even if he didn't, do something different. Do a lethal injection. Go ahead, do that. It's Texas, fucking hanging.
I bet they tried. I bet they tried to do that scene, and it was just too over the top, and they're like, we can't use this.
Where this movie's barely feature length long. It's like, what, 70 minutes, 68 minutes, something ridiculous like that?
Yeah, it's 68, I think.
And I couldn't find anything. As like, we usually have like fun little factoids about each movie that we talk about. The Sarah Lee and Amos Cadbury thing are the only things I got. So, and I blew my load right as we started talking about it. So, So in the beginning, let's just try to go linear with this. In the beginning, Gary Busey is robbing a diner and just sort of indiscriminately killing anybody who gets in the way, right? And there's the brother of the female lead just trying to, like, buddy up with him and telling him to put the gun down, like, 100 times. Did anybody else notice that he's like, put the gun down?
Oh, they say, say it again.
Because all he says, it's like he forgot his fucking lines, so he just kept walking towards the camera, saying, well, put the gun down. Like, every inflection you can say, those 4 words, put the gun down, this actor said. Like,
it reminded me of that YouTube video that they did of like Batman trying to find his voice, and
where's Falcone?
Where's the drugs? Where are the drugs? Where are the drugs, governor? Like that.
Yes.
Oh, so terrible. And then he they get in like a battle of wits for a second. It just didn't make any sense. You know, like Gary Busey just puts the gun down. He's like, come on, take it. What? What is going on? I just knew, like, right. I had never seen this movie before. I'll be honest. I'd never.
I had actually seen this movie before because me and a couple friends, like, back in college were, like, hunting down what's the worst movie we could actually possibly find. And we found the Gingerdead Man. And like you said before, it wasn't the worst movie, and that's one of the worst things about it, is it's not the worst movie. And you really kind of want it to be either great or the most despicable, horrible, awful shit you've ever found. And put the gun down scene really kicks off where you're like, yeah, this isn't the worst. Also, is he robbing the diner, or is he just killing people?
Yeah, you see, that's another thing, dude. I honestly don't know. I mean, he's behind the counter, so that makes me think that he is robbing the diner. And then he's like, there's a part where he's just like, something's not right. You know what I mean? Like, he says that, and I'm trying to figure out, like, I watched the whole movie. I still haven't figured out what the fuck was not right.
Mama said to finish what I started. And then he, like, fights the mama in his head and then still shoots her, but in, like, the abdomen, maybe?
It's just weird, dude. It didn't even make sense. And then, you know, so he gets arrested, and they don't show him getting executed, which would have been awesome.
Which could have been done cheap. They didn't have to have a lot of special effects for that.
No, they could have strapped him to a chair and pretended to inject him, and then, like, just and have him say some crazy last words, and just have Gary Busey just ad-lib. Just say something nuts.
Wing it.
Just wing it. There's no lines. Say whatever you want, and we're just gonna record you for 45 minutes, and then we'll cut it together later.
They could have put a fucking colander on his head and lit off fucking sparklers, and I still would have died laughing at Gary Busey acting like he was getting electrocuted.
Oh yeah, that would have been great. It would have been amazing. So, and then just like you said, then the main part, the big chunk of this film takes place in this bakery. Obviously, because there's a Gingerdead Man. We're about to be running around. Oh, excuse me, I have the burps. I've been drinking this LaCroix stuff a lot now. Like a lot. It's basically like Pez water, but it is delicious.
Actually, anyway. me too. I agree. I like the coconut.
The coconut's good, man.
I don't even like coconut, and I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, so the main part of this movie takes place in this like shitty looking bakery in this terrible looking town. It looks like the town that time forgot. But so the girl, did she get shot in the abdomen, or did the mother get shot in the abdomen?
I think it was the mother.
I thought it was she got shot in the abdomen because it looked like I mean, you don't ever fucking see her face because her hair is over her face the entire time, so how the fuck do you know who got shot? Yeah, they don't really touch on that either. So I mean, oh god, this is gonna be the fucking missing plot point podcast tonight.
Yeah. So then they're in this bakery, and she's like talking to her a picture of her brother and a picture of her father, and and she's like, I hope there's a lot of strippers and Lone Star beer in heaven.
Yes.
All right, and which is whatever, and then there's like a knock at the door, and basically what happened is a woman in a cloak just played Ding Dong Ditch on a bakery, and just left this seasoning on the door, on the doorstep like it's a flaming bag of shit. And you just see her like run off in a cloak, and she sees it because we see it through her eyes. You know what I mean? So we know that like, oh, something shady just happened, and she's like, oh look, seasoning, put it in the basket. Like what?
It must have been. It's our delivery.
You would know. Your delivery guy makes you sign for this. This is how is this bakery still in business? And then they just dump it in. And then as we find out that it is the ashes mixed. They're the ashes of Gary Busey's character mixed in with this gingerbread stuff, and then she decides to make a gingerbread cookie. Dude, also here's the thing: this movie came out in 2005, which means it's a post 9/11 movie where people all throughout the country were getting fake anthrax mailed to them. You can't honestly say that you don't know not to open stuff from strangers.
Yep. I mean, they're in Texas. They're in like Waco, Texas. They don't know.
Can we also talk about the fact that, I mean, you're talking about the mix. There's two things that just drove me crazy. First of all, number one, it seems is highly emphasized with this statement. It seems that in order for this entire this entire demonic transaction to be complete, that blood has to go into it. So that's a poor fucking design on the mom. That blood has to somehow magically drip into this fucking
You have to know that this bakery is a shitty bakery in order to get that.
She's just hoping.
Yes, exactly. and second of all, what's his name? Cadbury, the fucking wrestling fanatic who has a build Brick, no build whatsoever to be a wrestler. I mean, he looks like an IT guy. And he slices his hand 7 feet away from the giant bowl of this mix. And then when she decides she's going to help him and, like, cure his wounds, she pulls his hand over, like, on the bowl and repairs his hand over the fucking dough.
What was that?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
What is this, your first time you've ever opened up a bag of fucking seasoning? This is a bakery.
The rest of the movie, they're all scared about the health department shutting them down. It's like, with the way you guys roll, they're gonna shut you down.
Yeah, but it's not even because they're fucking disgusting. It's because of a weird Texas stereotype in his fucking bimbo daughter. That's why they're afraid, because she's trying to plant a rat. Like, no. Girl, you don't even need to plant a rat. They're slicing their hands open and fixing their wounds over the fucking dough they're about to cook. This is a big problem.
Can we talk about the blood that was in the dough mix? Because it basically looked like somebody emptied half a bottle of Texas Pete onto some cookie dough.
And then when it was whipped, it looked like Worcestershire sauce. It just totally changed colors.
So dumb looking. Oh god. The acting in this movie was fucking terrible. It was so bad. It was so bad, and the sound was really bad too. You could barely. There are points where the characters were like, they're having dialogue and they're like barely audible, and it was just such a fucking. It was a weird movie, and the main girl Sarah is like. She's basically talking like this the whole, like the female equivalent of like this the whole time. Like, I just gotta, my brother. I'm like, speak up! I can't fucking hear you.
Yeah, and I was watching this on my computer, and I have speakers set to my computer where normal horror movies I can listen to at level 30 out of 100. I listened to this movie at 85 out of 100, and the scariest parts of this movie is when the cheesy MIDI, or MIDI fucking horns would jump in out of nowhere with no tension. That would be the fucking scariest part of this fucking movie. It was just like, wah, wah. I'm like, holy shit. But then, yeah, the pitter-patter of feet, the fucking soundtrack, and the voice mixing was just, oh my god, atrocious.
One of the things I've noticed, having watched a bunch of, like, full moon pictures, the studio had, it's demonic. This is Demonic Toys. This is Puppet Master. This is
Puppet Master.
What's the other one? Evil Bong or whatever.
Evil Bong.
Yeah. None of these characters have inner monologue, like, ever.
Nope.
They project what's in their head to, like, inanimate objects, which is ironic because the antagonists usually end up being toys and puppets and cookies and bongs and whatever Charles Band sees first thing when he wakes up. He's like, oh, I see a Gingerdead Man. I'm gonna make a Gingerdead Man movie. How great is that? It's like, ugh. I just think it's strange, and I know that this is like a puppet based. We're gonna make cheap movies. We're gonna make movies that involve puppets because one hand washes the other. It serves it. The antagonist, we don't have to spend hours in makeup. We just have a guy stick his arm in a fucking puppet, and we have our bad guy.
And a really shitty puppet at that.
I get it. I mean, Brett, you and I talked about Demonic Toys. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. It was funny.
Yeah.
So it works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time, and it doesn't work here in Gingerdead Man. There are a couple good one-liners when that guy who's like trying to basically buy her out. He owns the shop across the street, and the mother's shooting.
The Texas guy.
The Texas guy, and her mother's just shooting a fucking shotgun across the street like a nut bar. And he shows up, and he's like, let's just do it right now. No lawyers, no bullshit. $50,000. And then the girl, his daughter's in the car, is like, $50,000 goes a long way at Walmart. Like that. They had to. Yeah. That was fucking funny as shit. I lolled. I lolled hard. And what do you call her? Miss Pretty Face of Waco? They make make reference to it a bunch of times. I thought that was great. I also thought that the shots of the Gingerdead Man baking were cool because they were so hilarious.
Yeah.
Because they just looked. I was sitting there watching it, just laughing my ass off, just watching the face rise out of that bullshit dough or whatever they used. They're like, I can't, obviously can't get my message across on a podcast, but I thought it was a really funny part. The effect though is when the Gingerdead Man is electrocuted to life in the oven, like when the lightning balls are just hitting the oven and it's transferring down the pipes, the exhaust pipes into and bringing him to life. There's a lot of things, like you mentioned before, there's a lot of things that need to happen.
Yep.
In order for this thing to come to life. Like, this is like being, like, in the NFL and you're 3 games out of first with 4 games left. Like, a lot of shit needs to happen in order for you to get into the playoffs at that point, And this is like that. Like the mother, Gary Busey's mother in this film had to be like, okay, lightning is gonna hit exactly at the right time when they're baking this Gingerdead cookie, and
there's gonna be blood of a random person that has no connection to my son that's going to touch into a bowl when he cuts himself, a mile away from where the bowl is. And there's going to be, hopefully, beer and strippers in heaven. Done!
Yeah.
Revenge is going to happen.
Terrible.
Like you said, though, I love the quotes, though. Like, I love, when Cabaret is like, what the hell is that? And he's like, it ain't the fucking Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It reminded me, like, a lot of the one-liners reminded me of Baby Oopsie Daisy from Demonic Toys.
Yeah.
The Gingerdead Man is maybe the most believable character in this whole movie, which I think is funny because I mentioned before that the acting is bad. Like, the acting is like Hallmark made-for-TV movie bad. It is porno bad. It's on that level, and the best indication of that is what is going on with that old lady when she sees the Gingerdead Man for the first time. Like,
she's drunk, quote unquote.
Ugh, worst drunk acting ever, followed by worst girl fight ever.
Which actually, you know what? You touched on that. My question is she puts down like the bottle, the obviously like non-name brand bottle of Jack Daniels, and she goes, "Well, that's enough of that." I have been drunk a decent amount of time in my life. I've never hallucinated talking cookies while drunk. I've had an inflated sense of self-confidence, but I've never hallucinated. And she's just like, "Yep, well, must be the booze." And then she puts it down and he talks again. She's like, "Oh, no, this is real." Perplexing.
I think it was just weird too how that one girl who was like making fun of her out in the parking lot just I know why she's there. She's like trying to, like, ulterior motive, like trying to help her dad, but clearly like her dad is gonna put that place out of business. You know, it's like definitely gonna happen. Yep. So I don't know why she doesn't. There's really no need for her to help it along, but she's doing it anyway because she's a stupid character, and that's what stupid characters do. But then she's in there, and like, I feel like throughout the entire movie, we'll touch on this later, I'm sure, but it's basically her just going in and out of the bakery.
Oh yeah,
the whole time.
Thing.
The whole thing is her going. It's just her going in and out, and then her boyfriend Amos is like hanging out with them, or hanging out with Sarah, because they apparently they tried to make out at her birthday party when she was like 10. And that's where there's just so, this movie doesn't like, as far as the story goes, like, I know I'm getting shit mixed up for this movie now, because there's the only parts that grab me are like the Gingerdead Man popping up and being like, "Want a lady finger?" and then cutting the grandma's finger off. Like, that was I'll remember that forever. I'm not gonna remember these two knuckleheads. Like, they made 3 of these fucking movies.
They made 4 because there's a Gingerdead Man versus the Evil Bong.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
And if that's not on our episode of 4s, then we got a problem.
The movie poster for that's great. It's like him riding
yes,
the bong.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So she's like just like running in and out of the store the whole time. There's another friend that works there that apparently can't lock the fucking door when the place is closed. That's her responsibility. She can't lock the fucking door, and then she just gets like knocked out. Why don't they just kill her? I don't get it.
No, don't they cover her in whipped cream and give her like cherry tits, like cherry nipples?
Yes, they do that, but they don't. But they
don't kill her.
That part was great. That was actually one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously because I like naked chicks. And because it was funny. It's great. But they didn't kill her. They left her alive. They left the mother. The mother goes, the Gingerdead Man cuts her finger off, and then he just scampers away.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who does the whipped cream tits with the cherry nipples first? Was that Varsity Blues or was it this movie?
Varsity Blues came first.
Good. I hope so. Maybe that makes it a reference in some sort of weird dark world.
Both take place in Texas.
This is very true.
I didn't think about that until just now.
I thought of that when I saw it.
Is that your conspiracy crawl space?
There it is.
No. There it is. There it is. That the Gingerdead Man and Varsity Blues happen in the same universe.
Yeah. That would be fun. They should have killed John Voight off in the beginning of the movie. They could have gotten him to play the the father that Gary Busey shoots. That would have been perfect.
Or yeah, exactly. I was just thinking the same thing. Like, that's why Gary Busey's so crazy, because he's the son who had no sports ability to Jon Voight, and that's what led him to kill people. And Mama said you got to finish all 4 quarters, and he didn't. He would always throw interceptions, and boom, there we go. We have a universe, ladies and gentlemen.
None of these kills. None of these kills in this movie are great or good. They're not even good.
Well, piss poor gore. I mean, just terrible gore.
Barely there gore. Like, barely there. They, like, what? So we can go ahead and flash forward here, because we're getting to the point now where the mean girl is dead. They've killed her, or the Gingerdead Man has killed her. And
with a trap.
He's setting traps. The Gingerdead Man has killed her. And then Brick comes out of nowhere, and he wrestles the Gingerdead Man to the ground, and then he eats him.
Eats him.
And he's covered in blood, and then he goes, "Got milk?" Which is funny. Great.
Bad funny.
No, good funny. Cheesy funny. I like it. Campy. Totally fine with that. It was like a James Bond, or like a James Bond Austin Powers thing, like, oh, he'll never be the head of the company, like that sort of shit. I always think that shit's funny, but and then he becomes possessed by the spirit of the Gingerdead Man, which is awesome. Okay, I get it.
I love how he looked. He looked great,
and he looked good. And then
he looked like Evil Ash when he was in the shadow.
He did look like Evil Ash.
Until they brought the light up to him, then it wasn't as good.
Yeah, then he looked like the special effects on Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, it's very true.
He had a blue tongue, like he was eating a blue raspberry fucking dum dum.
He had a blue crush Slurpee.
There you go.
But that's all fine. I can, because now, like, that 10-minute window is where the story of it sort of comes together and it becomes cool, and they had a huge opportunity and they fucking blew it, because the girl that he covers in whipped cream that lives is the one that pushes him into the convection oven, which Sarah was in for a time, right? And yep. she got out. Like, it's an oven, it's warm, but it's not like you can survive for a few minutes. Your insides aren't going to cook just quite yet, you know what I mean? Like, clearly they put the mother in there, she lived. They put the Gingerdead Man in there, he lived. They put Sarah in there, he lived. They throw Brick in there, evil Brick, and he burns up, like, right away.
He bursts into flames, like spontaneous combustion, and he's dead.
Ugh, terrible. And the fact that I have to notice that, like, that just goes to when I'm noticing stuff like, okay, they're shooting the Gingerdead Man with a gun, right? There's a part where they're just shooting at him and they're not even coming close. It doesn't even look like they're aiming at him. And then the Gingerdead Man gets the gun and shoots it down. How many bullets are in that gun? It's a revolver. Revolver's got what, 6? It's a 6-shooter, right? But let's just say it's like one of those fucking, like a crazy Western, because it's Texas. Let's just say it's crazy and it's got 8 at best. That thing went off 20 times.
Oh, easily.
20 times. If I have to notice that, if this movie was any good, I would have never noticed that. I would have paid it absolutely no mind. But because this movie is a fucking shit show, nah, of course I noticed. That was one of the notes I wrote down. Jeez. So, and then of course it ends with, they've killed Evil Brick, and he's burned up, and apparently they were able to, explain this to the police that a Gingerbread Man came in and attacked everybody, and that's why there's, 6 dead people, or 4 dead people, or however many are dead as a result of the Gingerdead Man. And then they go to a hospital bake-off, and somebody shows up with some gingerbread cookies, and now those cookies are alive.
It was like nurses or something. They had like googly eyes at the end of it.
It was so weird.
One thing I definitely want to touch on this is the level of acceptance in this movie. Like you kind of alluded to it. the level of acceptance is absurd. They basically are like, yeah, that's a fucking crazy gingerbread that's coming to life. They don't have any really doubt for more than 20 seconds, maybe a couple lines. They're like, yeah, that's a mutant cookie trying to kill us right now, and we need to figure out a way to get out. There's no belief in the world that is like, yeah, that's plausible. Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, because why didn't they just leave?
Yeah, they weren't locked in. Good fucking point. They weren't locked in.
They were never locked in, right? Is there a reason why they were staying? Like, okay, we found our friend. She's alive. She'll be okay. They make reference to that. And then we found our mom, and she's alive. She's gonna survive.
Who was in charge? Who was in charge of the drunk 70-year-old woman? But she got away and somehow got back to the bakery.
What is going on?
No.
This movie's just full of craziness. No. Like, what about like the restaurant owner across the street when he gets pinned by the car, and the gingerbread man's driving it?
Yeah, exactly.
How can he drive that?
And sometimes I guess it requires you to hit the believe button a little bit.
Well, didn't he have like spatulas or something on his feet to drive the car, even though he never carried the spatulas to begin with?
Right. Well, so I'm gonna go ad lib here and just try to go off topic because like I get this whole like, all right, I just gotta I'm in an alternate world. I gotta believe. Like last night I watched The Fog, the original, John Carpenter original, and right in the beginning, like, basically like the fog is passing through the town. And like car alarms are going off, and it just doesn't like you know that something mystical is happening, but it's like an acceptable level of mystical. If I'm not making any sense, I'm super sorry. But it's like, okay, so based on this like 10-minute sort of intro as to what happens when the fog comes in, phones go out, cars go crazy. Windows shatter, shit just happens, and it's because this fog is possessed and it is bringing evil spirits with it, right? It's an acceptable level of mysticism.
It's not plausible, but you can forgive it.
Right, because you're like, okay, like it's establishing the parameters, it is telling you when this happens, this will happen as a result of this, right? Mm-hmm. There's none of that logic in Gingerdead Man. That logic does not exist. Like
no cause and effect. There's no cause and effect.
If they could have easily solved that problem if the Gingerdead Man was like looking around and then shit was just flying off the shelves, right? Because then you could be like, oh, okay, now he's like an avatar and he could do like black magic and he can make objects move with his mind. And because the blood and the electricity and all these things came together, and now he's an all-powerful thing, and his fragility is in his gingerbreadness. But then when he drives a car, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because he doesn't need he can maybe move the car with his mind without ever having to get in it. Getting in it is the funny part. Him driving it is the funny part. But they just didn't. That logic that you sort of need to make something like that happen is just not there. It just doesn't.
That bare bones established logic that he has some sort of metaphysical ability does not exist. It just happens.
Right. They're just like, oh, he's alive now and he's got a driver's license. Like it does.
They had the setup for it though. Like when when the blood was mixing in with the dough, that's when they should have showed all that shit happening. The phone's going out. The door's locking, You're
100% on fucking point right there. Because they had a golden opportunity to do something like that. And it's just as simple as that's simple movie magic right there. That's nothing. To get the doors to lock, the phones don't work. And just a short to get the phones to just short out. You know what I mean? Like he's making finger movements and stuff is just getting crazy. Like that, and then as his power is building, now he has the ability to throw a car, no fucking drive it. You know what I mean? It's just not there. So I don't know. Does anybody have any points to add to that before we go into our rating?
No, sir.
No, sir. Shaking heads. All right, so we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we're going to rate the Gingerdead Man. You're listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-Ray, the official horror podcast of Courts and Parts.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-Ray. We are dedicated to bringing you the show across your favorite medium. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Please send all suggestions to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back, and it is time to do that thing we do where we rate the movie we just spent a whole bunch of minutes talking about. I'm going to go to Brett667 first to hear his rating. Brett, you have the floor.
Wonderful. Can't wait. So I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 1 out of 5 scars. And I'm going to go ahead and leverage my logic on this one. Gary Busey, which we didn't really, we kind of touched on a little bit, but Gary Busey had a lot of fun doing this movie. And I like to imagine that he shot the initial scene and then took the really bad newspaper photos, the pictures of him, and then got to hang out in a studio and record bullshit, crappy one-liners, and was probably laughing the entire time while doing them. So I really do feel as bad as the acting was, as bad as the script was, Gary Busey, every time that stupid fucking puppet opened his mouth, I did laugh because the fourth wall is gone. Like there's no fourth wall in this movie whatsoever. So I liked Gary Busey, and this is one of those giggle bad movies. It's so bad that I found a lot of hilarity. It's like watching your friend get drunk and confess to his girl he's been in the friend zone with for years, try to somehow meander his way about how he feels about her. It's just that train wreck that you just love to watch. So, and but you're uncomfortable at the same time. You're like, should I jump in and like take him away? But no, I can't. This is his journey. So I give it a 1 out of 5 scars. That's pretty much where I lie on this.
You mentioned Gary Busey, and there's a part that I didn't mention. I have it in my notes. I must have skipped over it on accident. When he's talking to the rat, and he's just fucking with it. I thought that was pretty funny, and I think that's what you were referring. That's one of the parts you were referring to, where he.
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you think the odds are that they actually put a rat in the booth with him when he was recording? And he's like, "All right, Gary, just tell what would you say to this rat?"
I don't think that a script is. I think a script is rarely written for Gary Busey. I think they just tell him what the scene is and the plot entails, and they're just like, "Yeah, just go."
What a nut bar, Bub. Bub, what's your rating?
I gave it 1.5 scars. You know what? Because I mean, it's something I would never watch again, ever. You know. But like you said, like there's some fun parts in it. Like there's things that made me laugh. So I mean, I can't knock it down that bad. I'm not gonna praise it ever. But yeah, definitely. I give it a 1.5. You know.
Some people do praise it. Just so we can put that out there. Some people.
60%.
Yes, 60%.
You know what though? I looked at Rotten Tomatoes, and what it was only 5 people reviewed it. And 3 of them gave it a solid tomato. So that's what makes it look good. You can go on there tonight and be like, this movie sucked. Boom. It's going to drop down.
So here's how that works, though. They are critics. So in order to be put as a critic, which I would love to be, I would love to have like a Rotten Tomatoes account for their show, but we're just not. I think it takes a lot to do that.
It does.
So the audience score on that is perfectly tailored to what it should be. That's the one that's normalized. There's not. You're 100% right. There's not enough reviews, and I'm really surprised that like some film critic is like, wait a minute, Gingerdead Man 60%, only 3 good reviews. I'm gonna fix that, and then he goes and fixes it. But Yeah, so like I said, it's the audience score is totally tailored to exactly what it should be. I'm with you. I give it a 1.5. I think a 1 is totally fair. I think a 0.5 is totally fair. I don't think a 0 is fair.
No, definitely not.
But look, if you like this sort of thing, you're probably into like all the full moon movies, and basically like, you know, Puppet Master and shit like that. And I could see why people like it, but I'm just not into it, other than the laugh factors and whatnot. Gingerdead Man's really no different. It has a few laughable scenes, but there's no gore. The kills are weak. They're missed opportunities. It looks cheap. It feels cheap. It's totally unimaginative. I have to figure that it was probably pretty difficult to recruit actors for this, because the pitch must have been a very weird thing to explain with a straight face. And of course, probably Gary Busey was like, "You had me at killer cookies." Yes, I've been thinking about that too. Like, you know, I've been thinking in my mind, what's left of it.
$20,000 for 2 days? Yeah, I'm in.
I wonder how many gingerbread cookies he ate to prepare for this movie.
That's probably what he thinks. Like, I'm just gonna eat a ton. I'm gonna have a steady diet of gingerbread cookies for a whole week. I need to think like a gingerbread cookie.
What's even sadder is the fact that these poor actors and actresses that are obviously not actors or actresses were like, "This is my big break. I'm in a movie with Gary Busey. This is where my fucking career skyrockets." And I feel bad for him because no, was not the case.
It's funny too, because I just I'm talking about how much I'm like not really into the full moon movies, but yesterday I found this like used like CD, DVD, Blu-ray, VHS. There's a couple VHS movies out there, or out where I was, and I bought every single Puppet Master movie on DVD for $9.
That's pretty good.
$9. I mean, it was just there, and I'm like, I need to have it so that way I can just like have it in my collection and just look at it and just laugh to myself.
I mean, we could probably make an argument that they're kind of guilty pleasures.
Oh yeah. And I gotta figure that like they do. So we reviewed the first one, quite a few episodes ago, and neither one of us really liked it. But like, I mean, I can't really see it getting any worse from there. Maybe staying the same because, probably Charles Band and like Charles Band's best friend were like, "Oh, we love this. We'll just keep doing it," like, and we're the only opinions that matter.
Damn right.
So I did find a original copy of 1978 Halloween on VHS.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I grabbed that. And I found a copy of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, also on VHS. I also found the remake of My Bloody Valentine, but it's the 3D DVD version that comes with the cheesy paper glasses to watch it through. And it was only $9. I was like, I have to own this, and it came with 4 sets of glasses. So like, I had to own that. There's
oh my god, the whole family can partake.
Exactly. I kind of like that's a movie that's so bad it's good. Like I kind of like the remake of that. Well, because Tom Atkins is in it and it's super gory and disgusting. And I just thought it was really, really funny to own that. And what else did I get? Oh, I got the whole first season of Tales from the Crypt. And I'm looking over at it now. Oh, the Changeling. Changeling was up there too.
That's classic.
Yeah, it's a great movie. George C. Scott, George C. Scott, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he was in Angus. I remember him from Angus and Patton. And I think he played Ebenezer Scrooge in one of the million Christmas Carol movies that they've made over the course of the last few years. So we've come to the end. Part 1, I guess. It's like part 1 of 4 for our Christmas movies. Next week we're going to talk about Sint, which which is a foreign film about an evil Santa. I'm looking forward to talking about it. And you know, just if you have some requests, we've gotten a couple requests so far. We're totally filling them out. So, but if you have anything that you want us to talk about, just send us an email or hit us up on social media. Don't forget the hashtag Christmas in Hell 2016. Until next week, toodaloo.
Good evening.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Written and hosted by Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667. Edited and produced by Bloodbath. Music has been graciously provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. Artwork and logo have been provided by Bub. Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is available on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, as well as @BloodGutsBluray on Twitter, @bloodgutsandbluray on Instagram, and visit our Tumblr page by going to bloodgutsandbluray.tumblr.com. For any questions regarding the show, advertising, or anything else, please send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thanks again. Get possessed.